Tornato.
Please clear the cameras. Can you hear me, Mr. Pelosi?
Yes.
Wonderful. Be with you shortly.
He speaks both languages.
This 16th meeting of the Standing Committee on Access to Information, Privacy and Ethics. Our order of the day is pursuant to Standing Order 1082, the study of the Mulroney Airbus settlement, and we have one witness in this meeting. Our witness is appearing by video conference from Switzerland, and his name is Mr. Giorgio Pelosi. The video conference, I understand, is operational and tested. Good morning, Mr. Pelosi.
Good morning.
Are you prepared to proceed with us now? Comfortable?
Yes.
Excellent. Yes. Mr. Pelosi, on December 15, 2007, this committee, the Standing Committee referred to as the Ethics Committee, provided me with a list of priority witnesses to be called, and your name was included. And we want to thank you sincerely for accepting our invitation to appear before us today. Mr. Pelosi, we understand that you were an accountant and money manager for Mr. Karl-Heinz Schreiber from 1969 to 1991. We also understand that you were appointed the trustee of funds that were transferred between a number of industrial companies such as International Aircraft Leasing, referred to IAL, Thyssen Industry AG, referred to as Thyssen, and Government Consultants International, referred to as GCI. Are these facts correct, sir?
Yes.
Thank you. I would now ask you to be sworn in for your testimony.
Yes.
Could we proceed with that, and the clerk will administer the oath?
Okay, I'll just ask you to repeat after me. Put your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand, please. Thank you. The evidence I shall give.
The evidence I shall give.
On this examination.
On this examination.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pelosi. I know that you have been asked about this matter before quite extensively by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Investigation Unit.
Yes.
It continues to be before us in another mode. It still is a very serious matter, and we hope that you can clarify and/or help us to better understand certain matters brought before the committee. As a courtesy to our translators, and we do it in both official languages here, I'd ask you not to speak too quickly. I certainly will give you all the time that you need to make any statements or to respond fully to any questions that the committee members may pose to you. Do you have any questions before we begin?
Just two questions. Did you have a chance to see my testimony at the RCMP?
It was not made available to us, sir. The answer is no.
Oh. Okay.
That's it.
The second is just to tell you that at that time, after my testimony, I was submitted to, I don't know how you call it, as a lion detector or something like this. Okay? And that it was positive, that everything I told it was true.
Thank you for that, sir. Do you have an opening statement that you would care to make, or would you like us to lead you through the area?
Nothing else.
You have nothing else. Why don't we start?
Was just pointing out to me that all other witnesses, you indicated to them that any testimony given at the committee couldn't be used in other processes. It might be.
Thank you. We're aware, and it's not applicable. Mr. Pelosi, maybe we could start, if you would please give us a brief description of your relationship with Mr. Karl-Heinz Schreiber.
I met Mr. Schreiber the first time in 1969 because he had a company with other people here in Lugano. The company was for road marking, like he did it in Germany. And they had some problems, and the board of directors hired me or our company to make an audit of the company just to justify that everything was correct, because Schreiber was accused to have produced losses, and they presumed that they were not true. And since then, he was very satisfied of my work, and he hired me as his consultant for all the business he had outside of Germany.
Okay, Mr. Tilson, on a point of order, could you state the nature of your point of order before you get into details?
I'm going to try, Mr. Chairman. I've noticed that more and more you are asking questions, and now you're starting off asking questions.
Of order. Well, that's an issue. That's an issue.
It's a point of privilege, Mr. Chairman, and you've got to hear me out. You just can't cut me off. Let me have my say. And the point is, Mr. Chairman, you happen to be a liberal, and I suppose if you're going to ask,
Mr. Tilson, I have to rule you out of order,
if you're going to ask questions, Mr. Chairman, if you're going to ask questions,
please, I have to order. I'm ruling you out of order. We are just starting
this meeting, and you're going to have a shot, and then the liberals are going to have a shot. Is that it? Are you going to take over the Liberals' time in this meeting?
Mr. Tilson, I'm asking you to come to order, and I want to respond to you that I have discussed with the clerk and the researchers how we might proceed with this witness in the view of the fact that there is not an opening statement. We made the decision, and I concur, that to get some background information before the questioning so that the members could have an opportunity to have some foundation, because this is...
Mr. Chairman, I have no problem you introducing witnesses. What I do have a problem with is what you've been doing more and more is interrupting the proceedings and asking questions, in fact, taking up the time of this committee. If you wish to do that, you can come back to the bulk of this committee and ask questions.
Sir,
but you can't just take over this meeting.
Mr. Tilson, thank you.
Well, no, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank me. I'm telling you, you're out of order, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Tilson, as the chair of a committee, as you know, I am entitled to ask questions.
You are, sir. Absolutely.
Thank you. Just leave it. I'm not going to get into a debate with you. Come to order, please. Come to order, Mr. Tilson. Come to order, Mr. Tilson.
If you're going to ask questions, you shouldn't be taking. You should be taking the position of the Liberals. Moving on to the block.
We will have a discussion after this witness, Mr. Tilson.
Don't be condescending.
I need to move on. We have a witness before us, please. Please.
Well, I've made my point, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Out of order, as you have been for a while. Meeting. Oh, right. Well, that would be good.
You are out of order on this. I told you at the beginning. This is a debate. I'm glad that you've had an opportunity, however, to say your piece. You know that I have always made sure that every party got their equitable distribution of questions. and I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to defend the rights and the privileges of all members at this table. And I made that commitment at the beginning, and I've stuck with it, and I continue to finish with it. But in my judgment, and I have some discretion as chair, I would like to have some foundation background simply for the members' interest so that we can have the most relevant questions possible, sir. So please accept my discretion.
You've got the gavel, and you can do as you like, I guess, but I'm just telling you you're out of order.
I don't, okay. Thank you, Mr. Tilson. I will speak with you after as well, though. Okay, Mr. Yes, we do have business to do, and we will continue with our business here. Mr. Pelosi, I apologize to you for this interruption. As I indicated to you, I think it may be helpful to the committee if you would provide us a brief description of your relationship with Mr. Karl-Heinz Schreiber. Could you please proceed?
Yes. And during the first years we had our relationship, he asked me to help him financing his company in Germany, and I did it through banks and clients of me. I did this from 72 to 88. And I was in charge of all companies he had outside of Germany.
Okay.
But enough for you?
No, that's fine, sir. You also referred to the RCMP interview. I understand it was, they have a VCR tape which is some 6 hours long.
Yes.
I'm hoping that in our proceedings that you will be able to relay to the committees as they, to committee members as they ask their questions, some of the vital areas that you were examined on by the RCMP. I also understand, sir, that you had identified to the RCMP a number of persons you knew were involved with the activities of Mr. Schreiber in Canada, and if you will be able to tell us the names of those persons whom you recall and the nature of their involvement with Thiessen or Mr. Schreiber in his Canadian activities. So at this point, I will move on to questions by the members, and we'll start with Mr. Thibault.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pelosi, for making yourself available to the committee. You referred, or the chair did, to a 6-hour interview with the RCMP. Are you yourself in a position of a copy of that interview, of that tape or transcript?
No, I never had it.
Thank you. In an article in 1995 with the Financial Post, you, and I quote, "Over the course of decades, Mr. Schreiber has paid out tens of millions of dollars in bribes to politicians in Europe and Canada." Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell us, of the people who receive money in Canada, were there politicians involved?
I cannot directly, because I just knew from Mr. Schreiber, but I was never present when he paid money. He just told me. All the time I have to give some money to this or to, but I cannot, even in Germany, I cannot, I was not present when he gave the money.
But in Canada, did he tell you the name of the people that he gave money to?
I would say he told me the people he would probably give the money, so, as I know now.
So this is money that he had available. You were...
Yes.
Do you know a Mr. Frank Morse?
Yes, very good.
Did you accompany Mr. Morse to a bank to open 2 accounts?
Yes.
Was one of those accounts code-named or the password to open the account Devon, D-E-V-O-N?
Yes. Yes.
According to your understanding, who was that account for?
For Brian Mulroney.
When the initials appear as BM along with that account, that would mean Brian Mulroney?
Yes, I wrote myself.
Right.
On my, I have it here.
You have it here.
Yes, that's a card of the guy who was in charge of the at the bank, and I wrote the name.
Okay, we have
the number of the account, and on the top I wrote with my handwriting F. Moore and BM, and it means Brian Mulroney.
And the other account, was it for Frank Morse?
Yes.
Yes. Did you ever yourself transfer or know of transfer of money into those 2 accounts?
No. I transferred all the money we received in the company, in the IRL. I transferred to Mr. Schreiber's account in Zurich in the same bank. And he distributed the money.
And that
but
would be...
I never...
Is that the account...
I never saw it.
Is that the account that we know as Frankfurt? That account that you transferred it to?
No. It was... I tell you what I know now. I didn't know at that time. But I transferred all the money to a main account. Is the number is down, 18679, rubric AL, and it was the main account of Mr. Schreiber. And then he set up all these sub-accounts. I didn't know at that time that he had the sub-accounts. I knew later on during these years.
Did you personally get to know where those money have come from through your professional capacity or only what you saw in the media?
I don't understand the question.
Well, the money from the main account from Mr. Schreiber was distributed
Yes.
to other accounts. Mr. Schreiber
Yes.
told us of the Britain account, for example. We know of the Mark account.
Yes.
What is your knowledge of these accounts? How did you come to know? From your professional association with Mr. Schreiber or through the media?
No, from the media.
From the media.
From the media and from the prosecutor in Germany sometimes, because they asked me about these accounts.
Did you ever meet a Mr. Fred Doucette, or have discussions with Mr. Fred Doucette?
No, I think once I met him. Yes, in the offices of GCI.
At the office of GCI.
Yes, I was once in Ottawa with Mr. Schreiber, and we went to the offices of GCI, and then I remember that I met also Mr. Doucette.
Was that a social meeting?
Just a short meeting.
Just a social meeting. To your knowledge, was Airbus involved with GCI? Did you know the company GCI that Frank Morse was heading up?
Yes.
Did they have involvement with the Airbus, Thyssen or MBB, but specifically Airbus first?
I don't know directly, but I know that Mr. Moore had.
Mr. Moore had some involvement with Airbus.
Yes, yes.
You would have
Mr. Schreiber told me from the beginning that if the deal with Airbus will be done, it's through the lobbying of Mr. Moore and the help of Mr. Mulroney.
With the help of Mr. Mulroney. And so
yes.
when we see correspondence from Frank Morse on the letterhead of GCI directly to Mr. Strauss, that confirms what you already knew by Mr. Mulroney.
Yes.
By Mr.
Exactly. Yes.
Has Mr. Schreiber ever told you that he would be making some of the money available in Canada for politicians?
Yes.
Did he name politicians?
At the time we set up the account, he told me that if the deal with Airbus will be done, he will have to give 25% to Mr. Moore and 25% to Mr. Mulroney.
And what did
I know now that he didn't, but
yeah.
it was supposed to do.
He was supposed to, and that would have been in those two accounts. Do you have any way of knowing whether Mr. Mulrooney would have been aware of this? Do you have
no.
You have no way to know
No.
that. Did he ever tell you of people who would not have been politicians but might have been close to politicians other than Mr. Moore that he was working with or would be contributing money to?
Yes, I remember previously also in Alberta he mentioned some people who gave some money.
And that would they have been officials of the Canadian government, bureaucrats, or would they have been close associates?
No, they were official of the Albertan government.
Officials of the what?
Canadian.
Of the Canadian government.
Alberta.
Of the Alberta government.
Alberta.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madame. Monsieur Ménard, s'il vous plaît.
On vient de changer de name.
Ah oui.
Monsieur Pelosi, je crois. Mr. Pelosi, I believe you speak excellent French as well. Better than English. Very well. Me too, says Mr. Ménard. Mr. Pelosi, you started off by speaking about your statement to the RCMP, and you were surprised that we had not seen that or had not had a copy of it. Right. When you made your statement to the RCMP, did the RCMP take notes of what you said? They made a videotape. They recorded everything. They recorded everything. Did you get a transcript of that? No, I never saw it. But I know that everything was recorded. In your opinion, your statement contained the truth? Yes. As I said to the chair, I also had to take a lie detector test. And they came to Milan intentionally a few months later, and I passed with flying colors. It's called a polygraph or a lie detector test. So you wanted us to see that statement as well? Yes, for a simple reason, because it was done back in 1996, 12 years ago. It's much harder now to remember all the dates and details, whereas there I had all the documents with me, so my testimony was much more accurate than what I can do today. If we asked for your authorization to consult that statement, you would give it to us now? Yes. And I did give it in writing to the clerk. I received an email, and I wrote back giving my authorization. Under those circumstances, if it's not a secret to the RCMP, you would have liked us to have that testimony here this morning. Do we have it, Mr. Chair?
I can indicate to you that we did receive a affirmation from Mr. Pelosi that he would give his authorization for it to be viewed. The request was turned down by the RCMP. The reasons are not they were only oral, and it sounded like it is part of our materials from our investigation, which may be opened up in the future, and maybe we wouldn't want to compromise their case or their evidence. So we can have the discussion this afternoon at our in-camera meeting after we see Stevie Cameron, if that's acceptable to the members.
Bon. Now I understand, Mr. Pelosi, that you drafted a contract, or you took part in a contract between IAL and Airbus. Yes. Well, the contract was written up by Airbus and approved by Mr. Schreiber. I signed it myself with the president of Airbus at that time. Single copy was done in Zurich, and it was supposed to remain secret. All I have is a copy that's not signed. There was provision for a commission that would be given by Airbus to IAL if aircraft were sold to Air Canada. Is that right? That's right. And what was the commission? It varied. There was a whole chart with different percentages. It depended on the number of aircraft, whether there were spare parts involved. I don't remember all the details, but there were various percentages. How many aircraft? The total? Why, I had a table, a chart prepared by Airbus. So it was about $30 million US. US. Yes. So these 34 aircraft. So $800,000 per aircraft. I calculated at 2%. It would amount to 36 million Canadian for 1.8 billion. I think it was 1.5% on the amount, total amount. Mr. Schreiber, was it supposed to be all for him, or were the amounts to go to others as well? He always told me that it should be split 50% to the Canadians, 50% to himself and to Mr. Strauss. Mr. Strauss, who was president of Airbus? Yes, he was a president of Airbus and the premier of Bavaria. Mr. Strauss then had a commission on the aircraft he was selling to Canada. Yes, that was the idea. Mr. Schreiber always told me that it was for his assistance. Otherwise, he would have never had a contract like that from Airbus. And initially it was because Mr. Strauss had lost $2 million Canadian in real estate deals in Alberta. What we're particularly interested in is what happened in Canada. Did he give you the names of the people who were supposed to get this money in Canada? In that case, yes. He always said it was 25% for Mr. Moores and 25% for Mr. Mulroney. So 25% then of the 18 million. So it was 700,000 or so, million or so. And how? Sorry, excuse me. And how was that to have been paid? Initially, I thought he was going to be putting them into these accounts, but apparently he put very little money into those accounts. He was used to paying things in cash. This type of thing, as to Mr. Strauss and to Mr. Mulroney, the money would have been paid in cash? At least that was a possibility. I was never involved when he was distributing the money. He did that secretly. He did that by himself. All I know about the distribution of the money, I found out during the investigation in Germany, and I heard through the media. Airbus didn't want to give money that would have looked like kickbacks. Let's use the right word here. There would be an individual entitled to a commission. He didn't want to give that impression. Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, Mr. Pelosi.
Yes.
Mr. Pelosi, I'm particularly interested in the testimony you gave in response to Mr. Thibault's questioning that in 1986, Frank Moores and Mr. Schreiber came to Zurich to open these two bank accounts with the Swiss Bank Corporation. One, you believed, was for Canadian political friends, and you've been very specific now that you believed one of those accounts was to hold the payout or the kickbacks for Brian Mulroney. Is that your testimony?
Yes. Yes.
And you believe that
Mr. Schreiber told me at that time.
I'm sure all Canadians are very interested to hear that testimony, Mr. Pelosi. I have a question. Were you ever contacted by a Mr. John Crosby in the early days of the Airbus investigation in the mid to late 1980s?
No, I don't think so. Who was Mr. Crosby?
Mr. John Crosby was a Canadian minister of the time doing an original investigation into the Airbus sale. I see. No. Now, the original contract with Airbus that you have spoken about cited that a commission of 2 to 2.5% would not be eligible if there were major political change within Canada, that clause would expire and no longer apply. Were you aware of Mr. Schreiber and Franz Joseph Strauss pumping a lot of money into the campaign to dump Mr. Joe Clark, the leader of the Conservative Party, and to elect Brian Mulroney as the leader of the Conservative Party? No,
I wasn't aware at that time.
I understand.
He just told me sometimes, Mr. Schreiber, that he will help, but how and the details I didn't know.
Now, part of our study is to examine the settlement, a defamation lawsuit that Mr. Mulroney filed against the Government of Canada because of the leaking of the letter that the Canadian government sent to the Swiss authorities. The letter of request was leaked. Do you have any knowledge or information about who or how that information may have been leaked to a Canadian journalist?
No, no idea.
I understand. Have you talked to any other members of this committee prior to this interview today?
No. I don't know who was a member, but I spoke with nobody.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any information about any other money or other gifts or other perks that may have been given to Canadian politicians or bureaucrats?
The only thing I heard from Schreiber it was that he had to give some money to politician in Newfoundland for the Thyssen plant, for the Thyssen plant who was not built. For the Bearhead project.
Now, as the Bearhead project moved along and the promissory note was signed between the Government of Canada, the Government of Nova Scotia, and Thyssen, a $4 million advance was forwarded to Mr. Schreiber. Were you still handling Mr. Schreiber's accounts at that time?
Yes, I received the money at IAL.
And do you have any knowledge of how that money was distributed throughout Canada? Was it your understanding that any of that money was to go to Canadian political partners?
The only thing I knew it was that he gave some money to a Thyssen manager, but I had no knowledge that when and how much he would distribute in Canada.
Mr. Pelosi, some skeptics say that you're giving this testimony so freely today as a way to get revenge on Karl-Heinz Schreiber, that your testimony today will either convince Canadians that Canadian politicians have a terrible paucity of ethics, or will put Karl-Heinz Schreiber back on a plane to Germany and to sit in jail for the rest of his life. What do you say to accusations that you are motivated by some revenge or a malice towards Mr. Schreiber?
Not at all. I am just saying the truth like I did it with the RCMP.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr. Pelosi. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We'll move now to Mr. Tilson, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Pelosi, thank you for coming or giving testimony today to the committee. I've been listening carefully to the answers that you've been given thus far to members of the committee. And my observation is, and I'd like you to tell me whether you agree with this or disagree with this, my observation is that most of what you know is not within your personal knowledge, that most of what you're telling us has either been told to you by Mr. Schreiber or by the media. Is that true?
No, that's by Mr. Schreiber, yes.
By Mr. Schreiber. So yes. Most of what you're telling us today, Mr. Schreiber has informed you. That's how you come to the conclusions and the information that you're giving to the committee today.
Yes.
Thank you. Those are my questions.
Well, we're going to continue with
Mr. Del Mastro.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Del Mastro, please, for the balance of this time slot.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Pelosi, has Mr. Schreiber ever lied to or lied about you in statements?
Excuse me?
Has Mr. Schreiber ever lied to or lied about you in statements that he's made? Yes. Has he ever lied to you? Yes, he has? Thank you.
He lied all the time.
He lies a lot. Thank you. Mr. Pelosi.
He's still lying. When I
he's still lying.
In newspaper his statement, I know that he's lying.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very valuable. Mr. Pelosi, you testified that you met Mr. Schreiber in the late 60s. You started working for him, providing financing in 1972, and you were in charge of all his companies outside Germany. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. When did you leave International Aircraft Leasing?
91 in July.
July 91. Okay, thank you. When did you first start speaking to the media and to police about your knowledge of IAL and Mr. Schreiber's business transactions?
It was 1994, I think so. After he refused to make an arrangement with me, and after he accused me in Liechtenstein to have he made a criminal charge against me, and it was dismissed 6 months later.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pelosi, could you describe for the committee what position you held at IAL and what your responsibilities entailed?
Yes, I was director who did everything from managing the money, bookkeeping, all the business, day-to-day business.
Thank you.
Of the company.
Thank you.
And always on instruction of Mr. Schreiber.
Okay. So you were fully aware of all money being paid to IAL, and you were aware of where payments and transfers from IAL's accounts were being directed?
I know, yes, what went in and what went out.
Thanks.
And all the money went to the accounts of Mr. Schreiber with a few exceptions that I paid all the costs, and I made few payments for him.
Okay, great.
For example, I made a payment on behalf of Mr. Max Strauss, and Schreiber gave me the instruction to follow the instruction of Mr. Strauss. It was 100,000, I think, D-mark.
Okay, thank you. I want to ask you a few questions about the Airbus transaction. When did IAL receive the first commission payment from Airbus for the sale of planes to Air Canada?
The 5th of October, 88.
Thank you. That's I appreciate that.
5 million US dollar.
$5 million US dollars. Thank you. After you received the payment into the IAL account, what did you do with it? Where'd the money go?
We went to the bank in Liechtenstein, Mr. Schreiber and myself, and we wired we paid all the debt first he had, and also with my clients, and then the rest of the money went to his personal account.
Okay. So I have, according to my information, $4.5 million went to IAL's parent company, Kensington Anstalt, and
yes.
Is that
yes.
correct? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And why was the money immediately transferred out of IAL's account to Kensington Anstalt? Why was that done?
I don't remember why.
Okay. What happened to the...
I just know that from the Kensington account, the bank issued a check, and Mr. Schreiber cashed this check in the Swiss Bank Corporation in Zurich. I don't remember how much. Probably the 4.5 million.
Okay. What happened to the remaining $500,000, and why wasn't that transferred to the Kensington account?
Because debt were all in the Kensington or other companies. We had to pay the debt, and the debt were with other parent company, not directly from IIL or not directly from Kensington. Therefore, we have to transfer because Kensington was the holding of all the companies.
So $500,000 was Mr. Schreiber's profit?
Not profit.
Oh, that was his debt.
I would say the profit was the 5 million.
The profit was the 5 million. Okay. All right. Are you aware of what happened to the funds once they were deposited into Mr. Schreiber's bank account?
No.
No, you're not. Okay. Are you aware of what happened to the funds once they were deposited into the Kensington account?
Yes, I cannot say it now, but I remember we paid all the debt we had around the companies.
Get back on the list. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dalmastro. Mr. Pelosi, I need to just get clarification on a couple of matters. The bank accounts that were opened up, the Devon for Mr. Moores and Mr. Mulroney, did you personally set those up? Were you involved in setting those up yourself?
No, I was just present at the bank.
Sorry? I'm sorry, I didn't hear, but there was
I was present at the bank. Mr. Schreiber and Mr. Moore took me to the bank, and I was there. I had no direct involvement, but I was there and I saw, and I took note. And Schreiber told me, take the numbers in case you need it.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that because to an earlier question, do you have any direct knowledge, or is everything you're testifying to simply things that Mr. Schreiber told you? In this particular matter, you had direct knowledge.
I was present myself.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Pelosi, you just said, and have said a couple of times, I guess, that you were present when account 8679, those are the first four numbers, was set up.
I am not sure if it was
18679, sorry. Sorry?
Yes. Probably this account existed before.
And you were present with Mr. Moores and Mr. Schreiber?
Yes.
And that was sometime in 1986?
Yes.
You pointed to a document. It's very hard.
It was in any case, it was February. I remember it was February, 86 or 85.
Right, time's limited. You have a document in front of you that you were showing us.
Yes.
Mr. Clerk, we'll get a copy of that document somehow, Mr. Chairman.
It's possible, yes, no problem.
The document you have has
it's already...
yeah, the document you have, Mr. Pelosi...
all over the world, in the media. But I can provide you a copy.
All right, fine. The interview that you gave with the RCMP, was that sometime after June of 1995? Is that the first time you spoke to the...
It was March 96.
Their first contact with you, however, was in June of 95.
It's possible, yes.
And you've given your permission to us to ask the RCMP for that interview?
Yes.
Just to confirm that, Mr. Chairman, we must get that, and we'll discuss it later, but you must write a letter asking the RCMP to produce that. Mr. Pelosi, you've said variously here that Mr. Schreiber is always lying, that you find that he is not credible. Is that right?
Yes.
I'm going to suggest to you that you worked with this and for this gentleman from the late 1960s until July of 1991. You handled his business affairs, his day-to-day business affairs, and his accounting. At some point from 1960 to 1991, you must have believed what he was telling you. You worked with him and for him.
Yes, and what he told, it was correct.
And I suggest to you...
At that time, I think he didn't lie to me.
Okay. So in 1980, in and around 1986, when he's discussing who the money was to go to, yes, he wasn't lying in your opinion.
Yes.
When he got in trouble and he started pointing the finger around and one of those fingers pointed at you, he began to lie quite often. Is that your opinion?
Yes.
All right. You looked off to one side, so I just want to be sure that you believed him when he said that half the money was going to go to Frank Moores and half of it was going to go to Brian Mulroney in and around 1986 yes, when he said it to you. Is that right?
Yes.
Right. I want to ask you about the Bearhead project, which you indicated was in Newfoundland. I'll just give you a little geography lesson. It was proposed for Cape Breton. Money was paid for the signing of a memorandum for that project of $1.9 million. What did you have to do with that money? You mentioned that you received the money. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you said that Mr. Schreiber said that some of it was to go to the manager of Bearhead or for Thiessen in Canada. Was that Mr. Greg Alford? Was it any one of the McKays? Who was it?
No, the only knowledge I had, it was the 500,000, I don't remember if it was dollar or German mark, but that he gave to a manager of Mr. Hastert, manager of Thyssen in Germany.
Now to Mr. Hebert.
Nice try, Brian.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Pelosi, you said, you've stated that Mr. Schreiber told you that some of the money was intended for Brian Mulroney, but do you know if any of that money ever made it to Mr. Mulroney?
No.
So, do you know that none of it, so you're not sure if it made it, or you know it did not make it?
I am not sure. Because I had no knowledge what he made with the money.
Right. Now, when IAL received the first commission payment from Thyssen, was that around October 1988? When
yes.
Thyssen received the first commission? Okay. How much was that payment for?
I don't remember. I remember only that the payment were related to, the first payment was related to the land in that the province of Newfoundland would give the land for free. And the second payment, it was about this letter that was mentioned before, that the letter of intent of the Canadian government to buy tanks.
But you're not sure how much money was given?
No, it was both times $2 million.
So a total of $4 million.
$2 million, yes.
You said both
Canadian dollar, huh?
Canadian dollars. Thank you. You said both times it was $2 million.
Yes, one it was 1.9 because 100,000 went to set up the company Bearhead. Schreiber set up the company Bearhead.
Okay.
In his name.
And that money came from the IAL account?
Yes.
All right. Did you handle that $2 million that was received from the Kensington Allstant account?
No, the money went to IAL and not Kensington.
Right, but apparently some money went to Kensington Allstant as well, $2 million.
Yes. It's possible, yes.
Now, Mr. Pelosi, in February 1986, when Frank Moores opened up a Swiss bank account,
86.
In 86, yes. What was the purpose
86.
in 1986? What was the purpose of these accounts? Do you know that?
Yes, Schreiber told me that was in case we get Airbus deal through. It was intended to put the money, the 25% each, on these accounts.
Okay. Mr. Pelosi, you opened your testimony today indicating that you made a lengthy statement to the police. And
yes.
We're also aware that the police here in Canada spent 8 years investigating this matter. Do you have any new information to offer us now that was not available when you first testified before the police?
No, nothing new.
Okay. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, we're now to Madame Lavallee, s'il vous plaît. Tu as la parole.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Pelosi.
Thank you very much. I'm going to be speaking French, Mr. Pelosi. No problem. Very good. You were the close collaborator of Mr. Schreiber from 1972 to 91? Yes. So you saw the money coming in and going out. Perhaps not to the final stage, but you did see money coming in and going out. Did you not? Yes. During that period, how much money came in with the 20 million from Airbus and so on? How much came in? I'd say 25 to 30 million dollars. So the big chunk of it was for Airbus. Perhaps not that much. About 12 million for Airbus, 4 million for Thyssen, from Thyssen. Maybe between 15 and 20 million then. So those are revenues from IAL over that time. 1 million from Messerschmitt for the helicopters. And after that, you left in 91. But did money continue to come in under the contracts that had been signed? Well, I imagine that the rest of the Airbus commissions came in as well. As the director, you had to sign checks. You had to manage this money. Earlier, you spoke about the 5 million that came in on the 5th of October, 88. I imagine that at that time, you had 500,000 in all, and the rest, 4.5 million, then went to other accounts. If I understood correctly, Mr. Schreiber took it in cash and went off with it. He had it in checks and cashed them at the Swiss Bank Corporation. When you say cashed, well, he deposited them into his account, rather. He had the $5 million was deposited into the IAL account. And when you talk about his own account, you're talking about the Kensington account? No, his personal account. Because IAL and Kensington were in Liechtenstein. So he had a personal account, and that's where he put the 4.5 million. So there was a $4.5 million check. He took that. He went to Zurich. He deposited into his personal account 18679. The checks for 500,000. No, we don't use checks here. We do bank transfers. That was the regular way of paying. Yes. Recently, we heard from Marc Lalonde, a lawyer who worked with Mr. Schreiber over many years, and he said that he was paid by bank transfers or by checks. He wasn't exactly sure, but I never made any payments over there. No. But would you say I never made any payments to Canada from over there? But would you say that regular things were paid by check and that secret commissions were paid in cash? Could you say that? More or less, yes. Were there some exceptions to that rule? It's possible. Well, I don't know exactly what Mr. Schreiber did. He had all these sub-accounts in the bank, so it's possible that he transferred money. I transferred 100,000 Deutschmarks, as I said, not directly to Mr. Strauss, but to someone Mr. Strauss mentioned to me. What did Mr. Frank Moores do exactly to deserve the 25% commission? Who? Mr. Frank Moores. What did he do? According to Mr. Schreiber, he looked after the dealings with Air Canada. Otherwise, I don't know how he could have concluded a contract like that alone, Mr. Schreiber.
Mr.
Hebert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Pelosi, you said that you were present when these two accounts were opened in Switzerland, and that one was for Mr. Frank Moores.
Yes.
Can you tell us exactly what you recall during that transaction or experience? Were you the one at the desk, or were you watching? What was your role?
Oh, I just was with them and at the table, and Mr. Paul Schneider, that employee of the bank, because the guy in charge of the account, it was Andre Strobel, it was a director, but he was not available that day, and Mr. Schneider came to the room, and he brought all the papers. And
do you remember how much was deposited in the account?
And both accounts were opened in the name of Mr. Moore.
All right. Do you remember how much money was deposited into the account?
No, nothing probably, or $100 or something like this.
Now, Mr. Moores has stated in the past that the account was one account was for himself, and that the other account was for the initials BM, and that those initials stand for Beth.
For his wife, but it's
Moore.
not true.
It's not true.
Yes.
How can you how can you tell us, or what explanation do you have as to why he would say that, and how do you know that it wasn't for Beth Moore?
It's just a case that they have the same initial. You see, that he invented the story that it was for his wife, but Mr. Schreiber told me exactly it is for Brian Mulroney, and I put BM. I didn't even know the name of the wife of Mr. Moore.
Mr. Schreiber, when he was here before this committee, told us that you stole money from him. I think it was around $3 million that he said that you stole from him. How do you respond to that accusation?
First of all, it was not 3 million, it was 1 million, and I was entitled to have it. At that time, I missed this piece of paper. Therefore, he said I stole it. But with this piece of paper, he says that I am entitled to 20% of all the profit we made in this construct, Kensington and all the companies. It would be more, probably it would be 3 or 4 or 5 millions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chair, I'm going to pass the balance of my time to Mr. Tilson.
Thank you.
Sir, I just have one question. And
yes?
you have said that Mr. Schreiber lies. He lies all the time. Why do you think that?
Yes.
Why do you think that?
Because, first of all, when we had the fallout, he told to everybody, oh, it's nothing to do with Kensington, with IL, it's not his company, it's company of somebody else, or such stories. That was the first time he began to lie. And now he's lying every time he tells you something. The only goal he has to stay in Canada and not to be deported to Germany.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. Sorry. No, he wants to finish.
Even this story here, that's an old story.
The whole story. Excuse me, sorry, I didn't hear you.
The story of the $300,000 he paid to Mr. Maroney, it's an old story. But he took it out of only now because he was he was very anxious to be deported.
Not true. So he's saying the story of...
I just want to be clear I understand. Are you telling me what he's told this committee on that particular subject of the $300,000 is not true?
Yes. No, I'm saying that is the whole story.
The whole story. Everything he's...
Yes.
Old story.
It's an old story.
I brought it 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
You know, there's all kinds of people making noises here. I want to make sure I understand what you've just said. Repeat your last...
I was just saying this story is an old story. He paid in '93 and it was known since 6 or 7 years that he paid Mr. Maroney $300,000. You understand what I mean? And
yeah.
Now he make a big story.
Jasper.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You understand?
I do indeed. I understand everything.
Okay.
Mr. Pelosi, the chair speaking, you have been holding up some papers and reading from others. I don't know whether or not it's possible, but it may be helpful for the committee to receive copies of some of the vital documents, not everything you have, but some of the vital documents, for instance, the one you just held up. Is it possible for us to arrange with you to get copies of some of those documents?
Yes, if you write me what you want, you can do it by email, and then I will provide you. I just need the address to send it.
That would be very helpful. Thank you kindly.
I will make copies and send it to you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it very much. It will be very helpful to the committee. We'll now move to Mr. Mulcair, s'il vous plaît.
Bonjour, Monsieur Pelosi.
Good morning, Mr. Pelosi. Thank you for helping out the committee in its work. I would like to go over some dates just to make sure we understood correctly. You explained earlier that you met with the RCMP in June of '95. Is that right? Yes, for the first time. They came here to Lugano. And at that time, they didn't do any recording or filming. No, they did nothing. All they said, they couldn't question me on the matter. They just wanted to know whether I would be prepared to come to Canada to testify. Then you met them in March of '96, right? Yes. The first, they sent a request to the Swiss police. They seized all my documents here. They sent them over to the RCMP, and 3 or 4 months later, I came to Canada to give my testimony with all the documents. And then the testimony took place in March of '96, exactly. At that time, there was a seizure and there were proceedings with the Swiss police. Did they give you exactly the reasons for seizing the documents and for requiring your testimony? No. Well, it was clear to me why they wanted this. Well, first of all, I would like to know what they told you exactly. Oh, I don't remember exactly. The first time, they just asked me whether I'd be prepared to come and testify, because there'd been some articles in the press in Europe and perhaps in Canada as well, and they asked me if I'd come, and I said, yes, I'll come. And before I went over, they had the Swiss police seize the documents at my home. And when they did that, did they say, we need these documents at the request of Canada? Yes, it was clear that it was a request that came from Canada. And what matter was it about? Did they mention the names of any individuals, or did they just speak generally about a subject? They spoke in general terms. What was the subject? It was the commission payments for Airbus. Okay. So the Swiss police seized some documents at your home, and it was at the request of the Canadian police, and it had to do with the Airbus money. At that time, did they ask you or did they say to you whether they had spoken with Mr. Schreiber already? No. No, there was no mention of that, or they didn't tell you. They didn't say. And I didn't ask. But I don't think they'd spoken to Schreiber then. You think that they hadn't spoken to Schreiber. That's the information you have today, and that we've always wondered about that. In your testimony, which we will eventually see because the chair is going to get it from the RCMP, are we going to hear you saying you should ask that of Mr. Schreiber? Did you tell the RCMP that they should go and talk to Mr. Schreiber? No, that wasn't my job. It wasn't up to me to decide for them who to hear from and who not. Before giving the floor to Mr. Martin, did they speak on another bank account called Mark, codename Mark? No.
I have one brief question, Mr. Pelosi. A lot of Karl-Heinz Schreiber's problems in Europe were not for bribes or kickbacks to individual politicians, but to the Helmut Kohl's political party. In fact, giving $1 million Deutschmarks to the treasurer of the political party in a parking lot. In any of the talking about taking care of Canadian political friends, was there any conversation about taking care of payments to the Conservative Party of Canada, not just the Conservative politicians?
No, I don't remember.
Thank you.
It was
Thank
never
you.
a question of.
Thank you, Mr. Pelosi. We'll now move to Mr. Murphy.
Thank you. Mr. Pelosi, I left off talking about the Bearhead project. It was for armored personnel carriers to be built in Canada. Do you recall that?
Yes. Yes.
And Mr. Pelosi, the Memorandum of Understanding was signed by the Canadian government sometime in 1988. Money was dispersed. You received the money. What did you hear of Bearhead after that, after depositing the money sometime in 87, 88?
I just remember that Mr. Schreiber was upset that the things didn't go the way they should go.
When did he say that?
Oh, 89, 90.
And from your point of view, after 89, 90, there was no further mention of Bearhead and making light armored personnel carriers in Canada by Thiessen.
No, he just told, at the end, he told me that General Motors will build a plant or will do the business with the government, and they were out.
Did you have, over the course of your dealings with Mr. Schreiber, a lot of contact with Thiessen officials?
Not a lot, but a few contacts. I was there in, I don't remember the city, Düsseldorf, I think. I don't know where it was the main city. I was there once with Mr. Schreiber, and I met Mr. Hastert a few times, and I have phone contacts with some official of Thiessen about the payment, the invoices, and so on.
But you were very aware that they made personnel carriers, Thiessen did, in Germany.
Yes.
And they sold them worldwide. Yes. Does it surprise you? Does it surprise you that they would hire, or Mr. Schreiber on their behalf would hire, a former prime minister to sell vehicles to China and Russia and France? Does that surprise you?
No, that's not true.
Well, how do you know it's not true?
Because Schreiber told me from the beginning that he relied on Mr. Mulroney as a prime minister, that he would make his influence available to get the plan done in Newfoundland.
Cape Breton, but I understand. Mr. Pelosi,
not for selling tanks outside of Canada.
May I ask you?
It was clear from the beginning that the armored vehicle could be sold only in Canada or
Yeah, fair enough.
Eventually in the United States.
Thank you. You mentioned you met Fred Doucette at the offices of GCI. Do you know when that was?
Yes, I can tell you the exact date because it was the day Mr. George Bush Sr. was elected President of the United States. We had after the meeting in the evening, we had a dinner and a party and waited for the results of the vote in a hotel in Ottawa.
Judicial notice, November of 1998, 1988.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. What did you understand his role to be, Fred Doucette?
Excuse me?
What was his role? Who did he represent?
I don't remember what Mr. Shriver told me.
Mr. Pelosi, how much time do I have now? You've talked about a bank account 18679. What do you know about a bank account in the name of IAL number 235-972-027? Have you ever heard of that account?
No. Where? In the same bank?
On October 25th, 1988, Thiessen Industries deposited $2 million into that account. Do you have any knowledge of that?
Oh, yes. It was the account in Liechtenstein.
Right. And who was that account for? My final question.
It was a normal account of IL to receive the money from Airbus or from everybody. That was the first payment we received.
Thank you. Mr. Hebert?
Thank you. Mr. Pelosi, I want to go back to the Swiss bank accounts. There's still some unanswered questions here because on one hand we have you saying that the money was, the accounts were Frank Moores and Mr. Mulroney, and yet at the same time we have information that was obtained by the Financial Post in the mid-90s, actual bank statements from these accounts that indicate that when the account was opened, there was $500 deposited in it, and then within 4 years the account was closed without any major transactions occurring. It also states, the original application also states that the power of attorney was given to Mr. Frank Moore's wife, Beth Moores. So that lends some credibility to his statement that the account was actually for his wife, since she was the power of attorney. Do you have any evidence to dispute this information, that these accounts were never used?
No, because I was present when the account was set up, and I never heard anything about the accounts since that date.
All right.
What I know is what you know. That what was in the
media.
In the media, yes.
So perhaps some of this information that
was no payment on the accounts.
So perhaps our source of this information is the same. It's the media.
Yes.
Okay, so not a lot of first-hand knowledge here. Now, do you know if Brian Mulroney ever knew about this account?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I passed the balance of my time to my colleagues.
Thank you. Mr. Pelosi, relax just for a second. You may want to fill up your water. I would like to address the matter raised by Mr. Tilson earlier, which has come up very often about the chair's role and his authority, and I would like to provide all honorable members with the references from Marlo Montpetit on page 827, 828 on the role of chairs, among all of the usual things that you expect, that chairs assume a leadership role in planning and coordinating the committee's work and in conducting its investigations. The coordinating also includes the setup of the meetings, as well as the introduction of witnesses and setting the tone or the basis for the chair, which is, or for the witness before them, which is what I had attempted to do in terms of getting an idea of the relationship of Mr. Pelosi and Mr. Shriver. The final item is more to the point of Mr. Tilson's point, and I want to give him a specific reference. It's under the section under Marlo Montpetit, of Parliamentary Practice and Procedure under the title Authority of the Chair. It's page 282. In addition to presiding over the deliberations, recognizing speakers, and establishing or adhering to the established rules and practices, it also states, and I quote, "The chair may also participate in the questioning of witnesses." And I know that the member was a very active member of the Ledge Committee on Bill C-2, the Accountability Act, and as the chair did often ask questions, so I think he was aware of his authority. So I consider this matter to be closed now in terms of what the chair can do, and I'd be happy to discuss this further with any members if they wish at a later time. So now we're going to move to Mr. Thibault. Point of privilege.
Mr. Chairman, you indicated that in another forum, particularly the Legislative Committee, that I asked questions. I can tell you I never asked questions in those committees. You obviously didn't watch what those proceedings were. And whoever told you that I asked questions, it's not true.
They were Mr. Murphy, who was also on the committee.
Mr. Murphy
who was
must
sitting
have
right
been
here.
imagining things because I never did. I made a point of not doing that. And I can only tell you, yes, I believe a chair can ask questions, but the convention of this Parliament is normally you wait until other members of the committee have asked questions. Normally, if you are, as a Liberal, ask questions, the Liberal caucus forgoes their right to ask questions in that round, because in effect, you are giving the Liberal Party 2 rounds of asking questions, and that's not fair.
Okay. Mr. Tilson, one of the things that you will also note is that I do not give pre-prepared questions. My questions have been for clarification or to try to set up the witness. But in the matter, sir, I have the floor. Sir, no, this is the. I'm sorry, there are no questions here. This is my introduction of Mr. Pelosi, and these are the notes. Excuse me, I have the floor. I have the floor. I have the floor, sir. I'm just trying to answer your question, but now we agree that the chair has the authority under the rules of Parliament to ask questions. We both agree on that. Is that correct, sir?
No, it's not correct. Do you want me to debate that with you?
Well, I don't think not right now. Okay.
Yeah, let's go on, Mr. Chairman. You're out of order, and let's proceed.
Okay. You know what? I'm sorry, colleagues. I'm sorry. For some time now, I have taken a fair bit of challenging by Mr. Tilson on my authority of Parliament, and quite a fair bit of abuse and some challenging of what I can do or not do. I believe that the members of this committee are aware of the matters and of what has happened, and I take this latest outburst and final outburst, even when I explained the rules, that this be a direct challenge of the chair, and I'm considering it to be deemed to be a motion challenging the chair's authority, and I'm prepared to relinquish my position if the committee so views that it's necessary for that to happen. I am going to put the question now on the motion challenging the chair's authority collectively by Mr. Tilson. And there is no debate on a challenge to the chair, so I am going to ask for the vote right now of the committee. Does the committee sustain the decision of the chair? And I would ask for a show of hands, all those in favor of sustaining the chair, raise your hand. All those opposed? It is carried unanimously. So that matter is over. Excuse me, colleagues, you understand that a point of order is the right and a privilege of a member, and I'm going to defend that right of all members. And Mr. Tilson has asked for a point of order, and I'll ask him to state the nature of his point of order and before he gets into the details so I can rule on whether or not it's in order.
Very, very simply, Mr. Chairman, the vote was not unanimous, and you said it was unanimous.
Sir, that's not a point of order. You're in debate. I can tell you all of the people who voted on that motion voted to sustain. People who don't vote are not included in the total of the vote. The vote was unanimous. Let's move on now to Mr. Thibault, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and once again, welcome, Mr. Pelosi. Mr. Pelosi, you know Mr. Edmund Frick as a trustee of IAL, is that correct? Yes? Did IAL have any other trustees? That's the only one. Did you ever meet Mr. Elmer McKay before the end of your association with IAL in 91? It's possible, but I don't remember exactly, because I met a lot of people in Canada, and I don't remember exactly having met him. Did you meet a certain Mr. Stuart Idols? I don't think so. Well, I know who he is, but I never met him. How did you hear about Mr. Stuart Idols? Was it Mr. Schreiber who spoke to you about him? Yes, Mr. Schreiber spoke to you about Mr. Idols before 91. I don't know whether he was the president of Airbus or something. He's a person who followed someone else in that position. In the sub-accounts, Mr. Schreiber's sub-accounts, there's one called Stewardess. Are you familiar with it? I heard about it from the police in Germany. But you had no dealings with that account yourself. I never knew that Mr. Schreiber had all those accounts. I found it out when I was questioned by the attorney in Augsburg. He showed me the list, and he asked me whether I reached the same conclusions as they did, and I said probably. When you went to the bank with Mr. Frank Moores, were you dealing with him as an individual or as the head of GCI? What was the relationship between Frank Moores and IAL? Well, the relationship was between Mr. Moores and Mr. Schreiber. They were very close friends. But what about the business relationship? Was there a business relationship between the company you worked for, IAL, and Mr. Frank Moore's company? The only direct relationship was because of the helicopters, because there were direct payments from MBB, Messerschmitt, to GCI, and they were deducted from the accounts, taken out of the accounts, the commissions accounts for IAL. IAL paid commissions then to GCI. IAL received commissions from MBB. And of that amount, the direct payments were deducted that MBB made to GCI because there was a monthly fee. I can't think how to say it in French. It's okay, I understand. Every month there was a fee, a retainer, some $2,000 a month. And I also knew, because they got the amount, and half of it went to a company of Mr. Schreiber in Alberta. Could you explain, based on your experience, how Mr. Alford, who was the president of GCI, he said that GCI had no business relations with Airbus. But we do see correspondence from Mr. Moores on the letterhead of GCI and sent to Mr. Strauss, I believe. I've seen the letter somewhere in the newspapers. Do you think that was a business relationship? I would say so. Mr. Moores had a relationship with Mr. Strauss and others. You know better than I that Mr. Moores was on the board of Air Canada as well for a certain length of time.
Thank you. I'd like to move now to Monsieur Menard, s'il vous plaît.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. You know, Mr. Pelosi, that Airbus denies paying commissions to Mr. Schreiber. Yes. Well, you saw the contract between Airbus and IAL, Mr. Schreiber's company. Is that not right? I not only saw it, I signed it. You signed it. But Airbus's signature was not on the contract. Yes. There was the Airbus signature. It was signed. The first contract we signed together. We were in this legal firm in Zurich. The president of Airbus and myself were there, and we signed the contract that day. And later, we weren't together. We signed individually in different places. But the first contract we signed together at the same time. And you spoke about that in your statement to the police. Yes. And in addition to the Airbus signatures, Airbus paid money to IAL, did it not? In significant amounts of money, large amounts of money. Yes. You were saying it wasn't written down that it was Airbus that was making the payments. It was the bank. It would just be the bank showing up on the payments. But it was clear. I had the Airbus list. I was corresponding with Mr. Bailly, who was an Airbus employee. He sent me the list of payments that had to be made, so I could look at that, even though the money came in without a name. It always came from the same French bank in Paris. On the payments, there was no mention of Airbus. But there was no way of tracking where it came from. It just came from the bank. No further information. Yes, I knew it was from Airbus, though, because I was corresponding with them. I knew the amounts that should be coming. Otherwise, I fail to see who would have paid that money to IAL. So it was under a written contract that this was. God, who did that? And when you spoke this about the police, and police saw that, and then we saw that the payments were around $800,000 per aircraft in American dollars, not in Canadian dollars. It was all in American funds. 34, so it adds up to 27,200,000. Oh yeah, about 30 million. Mr. Schreiber, IA, what work was being done to get that money? He brought the two sides together. He was the friend of Mr. Strauss, and on the other hand, he worked with Mr. Moores. He even said that Mr. Mulroney was in favor of this. Let's call a spade a spade. Airbus didn't want to officially pay out kickbacks, so they hired an agent to whom they paid a commission of about this size, some $27 million, and his job was to redistribute this money to the people who required this, and that was done in Bavaria, Mr. Strauss. It was done in Canada as well. Is that right? It should have been done. Whether or not it was done, I don't know. Mr. Moores did receive some money. He said that himself. but the money went from IAL. He admitted it somewhere. I also know that he's settled that with the Canadian Tax Department.
Thank you. I'm now going to move to Mr. Martin, please.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Pelosi, the March 1985 contract that Mr. Menard was speaking about between the IAL and Airbus, our information has it that you testified earlier, or you stated earlier, that Mr. Schreiber arranged for the contract, but he never signed it himself in order to obscure the money trail. I see. We're talking about the same. And this is this.
He was the owner of IAL, but he was not in the board. Never. You see, the only people who was in charge of the company was Mr. Frick and myself.
I see. I'm still very interested, Mr.
Mr. Frick
Pelosi.
did nothing for the company. I did all the work.
I see. I'm still interested in the period of time, Mr. Pelosi, leading up to the Airbus purchase and this series of events that I'll walk you through briefly. In September 1984, Brian Mulroney was sworn in as the Prime Minister, and within 6 months, he fired all of the board of directors of Air Canada and replaced that board of directors with new directors, one of which was Frank Moores. Now,
yes, I remember.
You were aware of this? Were you privy to any conversations during that period of time that these circumstances may in fact been deliberately and consciously put in place to pave the way for the successful sale of Airbus planes to Canada?
I cannot say. The only thing I can say, I didn't know that all the board was removed. I just knew from Mr. Schreiber that Mr. Moore was on the board, was elected on the board.
And was it your understanding?
And there was a guarantee for him to have somebody who would work in order to get the contract.
Yes. So you were aware then, of course, that Mr. Moores was in fact a lobbyist for Airbus when Mr. Mulroney placed him as member of the board of directors of Airbus.
Perfect. Yes.
Yes. And it was obvious to you that they did so in order to influence the decision of the board to purchase Airbus airplanes rather than some other airplanes.
Yes.
Thank you. The last question I'll have then before I pass it over to my colleague is regarding IAL, Leasing Corporation. Was Engelbert Schreiber or his son Engelbert Jr. ever involved with either Kensington, Allstat, Airfel, Onstadt, International, IAL, or any other entities related to the Airbus transaction?
I don't remember. I know both, and I had sometime I had companies with them, but I don't remember that it was one of these. AL in any case not.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that Maybe that I moved. Yes, it's possible that Airfel was my company, and I moved when we had the fallout. I moved it to his office. It's possible. I am not sure.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we'll now move to Mr. Murphy, please.
Turn that off. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think what we've got, Mr. Pelosi, is a version that you believed what Karl-Heinz Schreiber told you up until there were troubles for Mr. Schreiber, and he started flinging mud in all directions. And to be specific on that, you believed Mr. Schreiber when he told you that accounts were to be set up for certain purposes and certain people were to be paid off. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you believe?
At that time, I have never a reason to believe that he was lying to me, because he didn't. The 20 years we were together, everything he told me, it was true. I never had the impression he was lying to me.
Then can you think of a reason, Mr. Pelosi, why he would tell you that 25% of the money laid out for success in Airbus would go to Brian Mulroney if it weren't true? Why would he say it to you?
The only reason I think it was because I was entitled to have some 20% of the profit, and then he would have to give me half of them. You see, if he pays 50% to somebody else, that's costs. And the profit will be only the other half or and quarter of.
You get the mic there? No? You all right? Good. I have to look at you to look at him. That's the only distasteful thing here. The RCMP investigated, Mr. Chairman, the RCMP investigated this and took 6 hours of videotape from you, I believe. Is there anything in that testimony regarding the involvement of Mr. Mulroney, Airbus, Bearhead, that you haven't told this committee?
I don't think so.
Thank you. Are there any other?
It's more. The testimony there is more accurate than what I can tell today because I have no documents. I have just and it's things who happened 20 years ago.
Okay. The name Devon on the account that was set up. Did you know at the time that it was set up that that was a street upon which Mr. Mulroney's house existed?
No, I learned it later on.
And when this account was set up and the initials BM were beside it, at that time, did you know the name of the wife of Mr. Frank Moores?
No. And I just put BM instead of Brian Mulroney, but it's my writing, and I didn't know that the wife even know that the wife has the same initial.
You put BM because you put that down to signify it was Brian Mulroney.
That's Brian Mulroney.
Right.
Yes.
Mr. Schreiber was the sole owner of IAL. You said, IAL. You said, but he was not on the board. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Who else was on the board of IAL?
Mr. Frick. Because it's by law you have to have a person, resident and citizen of Liechtenstein.
How many people?
Each company in Liechtenstein, it's compulsory that you have one person there.
So how many people were on the board in total?
2, Mr. Frick and myself.
Fair enough. Were there any trustees or shareholders of that company?
No.
Okay. There's a company called BitUcan Holdings Limited. You're aware of that company?
Yes.
What was the relationship between it and IAL?
So you had the same owner, Mr. Schreiber.
Finally, Mr. Pelosi, you were aware then that Fred Doucette and Frank Moores were hired to lobby on behalf of BitUcan between 89 and 93?
It's possible, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, colleagues, I've circulated, the clerk has circulated the room. We're going to go one more round, and 2 of the parties want to participate and 2 don't, but that may change as we go, so I'm going to go the 3rd round. It'll be Liberal, Conservative, Bloc, Conservative, NDP, Liberal, Conservative is the order as I've circulated the form to you. We're going to be starting with Mr. Thibeault. So as you're thinking about that, Mr. Pelosi, I'd like to ask you for maybe you can help us with an issue here. One of the problems that we've had is whether or not the payments to Mr. Mulroney were $100,000 or $75,000 on 3 different occasions. I understand that there was a expenditure withholding tax in Germany, and it was suggested to me that that was 25%. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Okay.
Nothing to do with them.
Thank you.
Nothing to do with them.
Thank you.
Because the accounts are in Switzerland.
Yes. Now, with regard to BitUcan, which is Mr. Schreiber's company in Calgary. There's another one that's called Berish Bitumen Chemie. Are you familiar with that one?
Yes.
Is that also
in Germany?
I'm sorry?
That is company in Germany.
That's a company in Germany?
Yes.
That's Mr.
Bayerische Bitumen Chemie.
And that is Mr. Schreiber's company?
Yes, the road marking company he had in Kaufering.
And the Bitucan is in Calgary.
Yes.
Do you know what the purpose of these companies are?
Bayerische Chemie, Bitumen Chemie, it was a road marking company. And Bitucan, it was a holding of Mr. Schreiber in Alberta because he had a lot of companies.
Okay. So
at the time of the annexation of Edmonton, he set up about 10, 12 companies.
As the accountant for Mr. Schreiber, did it involve the accounting with regard to other companies other than IAL and et cetera?
Yes, I followed all the companies in Canada.
All the companies in Canada. Okay. Sorry.
He had also a company who did road marking also.
Road marking.
MLI.
Are you familiar with payments by Bitucan in 1988 to Fred Doucette Consulting International?
No.
Now, if you're the accountant, or you would have information on the accounting within Bitucan?
Yes, but I don't remember.
And you don't remember?
Yes.
And payments out of, so you could verify or confirm to us payments from Bitucan to Mr. Fred Doucette's company, his consulting company, if we gave you the details?
I'm not sure, because I don't think I have the documents. These documents were all in Canada. You see, and when I was there, I reviewed all the accounts and I don't think that I have documents with me.
I will get to you, Mr. Pelosi, a copy of an invoice to Bitucan and a check paid by Bitucan in the amount of $90,000. And I'm hoping that you will be able to find some aspect or direct us as to how we can see what this was for. It's just called professional services. And this is a matter I'll be taking up with the committee this afternoon when we're in camera, and I'll provide documents to the members. Finally, Mr. Pelosi, did you ever have conversations with Mr. Schreiber about Airbus and the possible sale of Airbus aircraft to Air Canada?
Oh yes, a lot of.
Were you kept apprised of the developments related to that proposal?
Yes. Mr. Schreiber informed me more or less when something happened. He informed me.
Okay. Do you know who the chairman of the board, Mr. Gino? Do you know that name?
Not.
The chairman of the board or the CEO? And I think Claude Taylor was the CEO. President? Mr. Gino, he was an senior executive at Air Canada at the time.
No.
Sorry? Janio. And
in any case, I have no knowledge.
All right, you don't know? Okay.
No.
Did Mr. Schreiber tell you at some point that 13 of the 15 members of the board of directors of Air Canada had been replaced by Mr. Mulroney?
No. I remember he told me that Mr. Moore was on the board, was elected on the board, but he didn't tell me that the whole board was changed.
Okay, thank you kindly. We'll now move to Mr. Thibault.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Pelosi, Did you facilitate transfers to the PC Canada Fund, or did Mr. Schreiber talk to you about contributions to the PC Canada Fund?
No.
Did you know a Mr. Carbonneau, later became Senator Charbonneau?
No. No.
I want to bring you Air Canada board members. Do you know of any Air Canada board members having received cash or talked about cash?
No. No idea.
I want to go back to the...
With the exception of Mr. Frank Moore.
Of Mr. Moore, yes. You stated that earlier, thank you. I want to bring you back to the Devon account. You and Mr. Moore went to the bank to set up the account. He specifically told you one was for him, one was for Mr. Mulrooney. That's right?
Mr. Schreiber told me, yes.
Mr. Schreiber told you.
Mr. Schreiber told me, yes.
Okay, but Mr. Moore accompanied you. Assume
yes.
that...
Because
now,
he was the owner of the both account.
He was the owner of both accounts, so he would be the only one who could withdraw money from either or of those accounts?
Correct.
And did he put his wife as a trustee on one of those accounts? He was the sole trustee on both of those accounts. Did he at the time tell you where he got the name Devon or Devon?
No. I didn't ask, and nobody told me anything about this.
Now, why would you...
I remember that he put this name just to facilitate the identifying of the both account. Otherwise, he could have, you see, they are similar. 34107, one, and the other one is 34117.
Right.
And they just put this Devon to identify better the account.
How would, if you had remained with the company, would you have had the responsibility to transferring money in those accounts, or would that have been done by Schreiber?
Never.
Would all the transfers to the sub-accounts or to the other accounts were done by Schreiber?
Yes. I had no knowledge of this.
Let me put a hypothesis to you, Mr. Pelosi. Yes. Could it be possible that Mr. Moores was pulling a fast one on Mr. Schreiber? Saying, could it be possible that Mr. Moores was pulling a dirty one on Mr. Schreiber and saying that he was giving money to Mr. Mulrooney, that he would be receiving money for Mr. Mulrooney and would be keeping that money for himself?
Possible. I can't say anything. But it's possible, yeah?
You don't know of any money ever being transferred into that account. Is that correct? You have stated that.
Yes.
Do you know that none ever was?
I don't know.
You don't know. You lost track of that account after that time.
I didn't even know that this account was set up, you see.
Why was it necessary for you to be present to set up those accounts?
It was Schreiber that asked me to be present.
He asked you, that was...
I went extra from Lugano to Zurich at that day only for this. To meet Mr. Mulrooney, we had lunch together, and after lunch at 2 o'clock we went to the bank.
You met with Mr. Mulrooney?
Otherwise it would have no reason. Mr. Schreiber invited me and they said, okay, you know Mr. Moore, and you should know that he has the post account in any case, you see. And at that time we didn't know if we will do a business with Airbus or not. In 86 we didn't know.
Thank you very much.
Madame Lavallee, s'il vous plaît.
Mr. Pelosi, I would like to go back where we were before, when we were talking about Mr. Moore's work, what he did to earn the 25% in commissions. You said that he was on the board of Air Canada. Do you think it was really clear that Frank Moores was going to be a member of Air Canada's board in order to facilitate the transaction, the purchase of Airbus aircraft? Was that clear? Yes, it was clear. So Frank Moores was appointed there by Brian Mulrooney, as you know, to facilitate the purchase of Airbus. Right. But you know, he didn't stay very long because of a conflict of interest. Yes, afterwards he left. So did Mr. Moores do other things to deserve the 25% commission? I don't know. You don't know. He was the president of GCI. You do know that. Oh, and you went there with Mr. Schreiber to the office. Were there any payments made? Did one of Mr. Schreiber's accounts make payments to GCI? Directly, not. I only know about the payments made by MBB for the helicopters. I'm familiar with that, but otherwise I don't know. But MBB was part of the Airbus consortium. Indirectly, yes. It was part. At the moment, but I don't think so at the time. It was a company in Bavaria, and Mr. Strauss had influence there. It was a majority shareholder. The government was a majority shareholder. MBB paid returners. I'm sorry to use the English expression. I think in French there might be another word. Yes, there were retainers. And when the Airbus commission came in, that was just for the helicopters, not for Airbus. But in your opinion, is it possible that the commissions for Frank Moores were paid to GCI? I don't know. No idea. You've no idea. You don't know whether money could have gone through GCI, these secret commissions of 4.5 million. You don't know that either. Have you ever met Mr. Mulroney? No. Who did you meet at GCI apart from Mr. Moores? I don't remember. There were 4 or 5 people that I met with that time. I was only over in Ottawa at one time. There were 2 brothers. They were lawyers. Frank Doucette, does he have a brother? Is he a lawyer as well? Not Frank Moores. Fred Doucette, yes. His brother's called Gerald Doucette. That's the one. That's right. They were both there. Because Jerry Doucette, yeah, there were 2 brothers. They were both lawyers. They're the guys. And Jerry Doucette was a shareholder in GCI. So they were there. And you just had a social meeting, not a business meeting. No, we didn't talk business. They didn't talk about commissions either. No. Did Mr. Mulroney have a lawyer in Switzerland, to your knowledge? I do not think so. I don't know, but I don't think so. Mr. Mulcair, thanks, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Pelosi, I'm going to be continuing in English because you gave your answer in English earlier.
You mentioned that all of the documents were in Canada. Does that mean that the Swiss police never gave you back the documents that they seized for and on behalf of the Canadian authorities?
Yes, because I made copies.
You did make copies.
All the documents I gave to the Swiss police to be transmitted to Canada, I kept copies.
Good. So when the chairman of our committee...
excuse me, they were already copies because the original were in Augsburg.
Okay. What documents were you referring to earlier that were in Canada?
All documents about the bank accounts of IL, Kensington.
But you have copies of all of that?
Yes.
Good. And so our chairman will be in touch with you to follow up on that, which gives me the occasion on behalf of the NDP and my colleague Pat Martin, Mr. Chairman, to go through a couple of things that have been of great preoccupation and your intention to get from the RCMP the 6 hour of tapes. You might recall, Mr. Chairman, that our first meeting with Mr. Schreiber, he explained to us that he had never been interviewed by the RCMP prior to the settlement between Brian Mulroney and the Canadian government, the $2.1 million payment. Interestingly enough, as you might also recall, the RCMP sent out the next day a spokeswoman to deny Mr. Schreiber's version, saying that indeed the RCMP had met with her. But what was interesting was when we re-questioned Mr. Schreiber specifically, it was quite clear that he, of course, had met with them, but only after the settlement. I don't think that there had been any ambiguity the first time, because I was the one who asked the question, but in case there had been ambiguity, I re-asked the question, as did Madame Lavallée, and he confirmed for us very clearly. What was preoccupying for us in the NDP is that this equivocation, this prevarication, comes up again in David Johnston's report, other than the other things that we saw in there, for example, his echoing the Prime Minister's musings about perhaps we no longer need an investigation, or the fact that he says that Stevie Cameron's books are proof that this is well-tilled ground and we don't have to go over Airbus, as if Stevie Cameron had somehow did anything but raise more doubts about Airbus. What was very preoccupying for us is that the Johnston report refers specifically again to the RCMP and says contrary to what has been alleged. And then he gives a series of dates, all of them post-settlement. Here we have Mr. Pelosi who comes in. He gives us his very clear dates. It's going to be very interesting for us to find out what's on those tapes. And we as members of the NDP want to make it clear to you that we trust in your ability to get that information from the RCMP, because this committee can't continue its work. That's our opinion. This committee cannot continue its work unless we get access to what was given to them back then. So those tapes are crucial. I will end in the minute that's remaining by repeating a request that was made to you by my colleague Mr. Menard and by myself. The first is to get the full partnership agreement between Brian Mulroney and Ogilvy Renault. The second is to get all billings from Mark Lalonde and Stikeman Elliott to Karl-Heinz Schreiber or any of the corporate entities directly or indirectly related to Karl-Heinz Schreiber. And we need indications not only of how they were paid, because of the information Mr. Pelosi has provided us today, that things were normally done by what he was calling in French des virements, which I'll allow myself to translate as bank transfers. We need information on that as well. And all of that has to be produced before this committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. That concludes the testimony. I would like to indicate to colleagues that, again, there is going to be a meeting after we hear from Stevie Cameron, an in-camera meeting, to discuss the issues of our authority to access persons' papers or records by subpoena, and the full range of matters that we have discussed at this meeting and at other meetings. Please come prepared for that. I'd also like to, I must probably also alert you that there is another issue that has come up with regard to the, related to the appointment of Dr. Johnston on the issue that in terms of reference and his appointment under Section 271(1)(3) or C of the Public Service Employees Act, that the terms of reference include, it would appear, the delegation of inquisitorial powers, specifically to examine whether or not there was any indication of any criminal activity, and to recommend what steps should be taken. The concern that has been raised, and I want to bring to the committee's attention at our in-camera meeting, has to do whether or not the Prime Minister has potentially properly appointed an independent panel or advisor in Dr. Johnson, in that the only person in the government who has the authority for inquisitorial powers is the Attorney General, and that responsibility to find an independent person and to conduct inquisitorial matters is, in fact, the responsibility of the Attorney General, who is the advisor to the Crown on legal matters. He is the sole advisor to the Crown on legal matters. It's a little bit technical. I have some documents that I will get produced for you for background material, but we may have to make a determination whether or not we have to go back to the Clerk of the Privy Council, who we have asked to deal with this problem we've already raised with him about the public inquiry building on our work, which we are asking whether or not that's utilizing the work of this committee, which is not permitted since it's protected by parliamentary privilege. So we have some fairly meaty matters to deal with, and I hope that you will come ready to deal with them. Mr. Pelosi, I want to thank you kindly for all of your attention and assistance. I also, sir, it appears that the committee is after as much paperwork as we can get. We have had some difficulty. I'm going to ask for your indulgence. if you could, in addition to anything that we might specifically ask of you, that you would also provide us with any other documents that you think are remotely relevant to the matter before us. We would be happy to pick up and defray any and all cost of producing it and transmitting it to us. The clerk will be in touch with you in that regard. Would that be okay, sir?
Okay, no problem, yes.
Thank you, sir. We are adjourned.
Thank you very much.
you.